iFixit Steam Deck replacement parts will be available beginning this summer. This is great news. Let's get into it. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to yet another brand new Major Ben video. I just want to say before we get into this, actually, the support on all my Steam Deck videos recently has been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you to everybody who watches them. Thank you to everyone who's a new subscriber. The channel is growing rapidly. My target was to get to 5K by the end of the year. Considering I only had like 4,500 by December, I really thought that would be a reasonable target for the end of the year because my channel wasn't growing that quick, but we've flown by. It's awesome. It's all thanks to you guys. You're all legends. I'm loving making the Steam Deck content because I'm so hyped for this device, like many of you are, and a lot of us aren't getting ours until, well, quite a while, and some people just ridiculously like late this year. So I'm going to make as much content as I can. Even when I get my Steam Deck, I am going to be publishing videos showing the performance of each new game that comes out. I'm literally already started working on like a camera placement setup so I can get an overhead camera ready so that I can record things from my Steam Deck just to show various different games that are coming out, and then we can test them on the deck itself. So let's get into it. So, iFixit has announced... Oh, by the way, guys, do like and subscribe as always. Please do. It really helps me out. iFixit Steam Deck replacement parts are going to be available beginning this summer. So, iFixit plans to start offering replacement deck parts this summer. Valve first announced in February that the repair experts at iFixit would be one of the authorized sellers of replacement parts, but did not give a specific timeline as to when they would actually be available. The vast majority of consoles aren't easily like user repairable, so making official Steam Deck replacement parts available, even if they're not out just yet, is a good thing for us as consumers, and hopefully it will push other hardware manufacturers to do the same in the future. We've asked iFixit if it can share information about which parts you'll be able to get and how much they cost. In Valve's official Steam Deck teardown video from October, the company said thumbsticks, SSD, and possibly more would be available. So it's possible those will be listed at iFixit. However, in that video, Valve strongly cautioned against opening up the Steam Deck, even though it's a PC, or it will be once you've received your Steam Deck, and you have every right to open it up and do what you want. We at Valve really don't recommend, they said, you ever open it up. The Steam Deck is a very tightly designed system, and the parts are chosen carefully for this product with its specific construction, so they aren't really designed to be user swappable. But if you're willing to roll a dice to swap something out for your deck, it sounds like you'll be able to get official replacement parts from iFixit this summer. Earlier this week, it felt like, well, this is maybe a little while ago for you guys, but it felt like there might be an urgent need for replacement parts when a few of the first Steam Deck owners reported seeing thumbstick drift, a problem best known to happen on something like the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con controllers. Fortunately, Valve said the drift was a software bug, not a hardware issue, and shipped a fix within hours. 3 people who had been experienced the drift told The Verge that the update looked to have fixed things. This is fantastic news. Well done, Valve, for getting straight on that, because as soon as you hear something like, oh, stick drift, it can put a massive downer on a device that is doing so well and that should be so good. So it's really, really good news that Valve came out and did that. So what does this mean? Now, this is just awesome news in general. I mean, to have replacement parts, even if it is just things like the joysticks, which in my personal opinion is the main thing. But a lot of people are going to be using this device for many years to come, and having that option of just replacing parts like the joysticks when they break, it's just really good news. Like, that's fantastic, like, just to be able to swap those out, because there is a lot of problems with joysticks. In the end of the day, all joysticks are made from very similar parts and they all work in a very similar way. Joystick drift is something that's always probably going to happen unless they change up the mechanism entirely. So this is something potential, although they patched the joystick drift that these Steam Decks have had at the start because it was a software bug. These things probably will get some sort of joystick drift down the line, and it's good that we can just simply swap out those parts. Also, the SSD is a huge thing. You're going to get 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte versions of these SSDs that you can put into this device. Not necessarily even from places like iFixit, but there will be manufacturers making SSDs the size that fit the Steam Deck with 1 terabyte options. I mean, we all know it's possible. You can get micro SD cards that are 1 terabyte. I plan on probably leaving mine as long as possible with the 512 that I've bought, and then using the 1 terabyte. I'm going to get a 1 terabyte micro SD card to put in this thing, because in the end of the day, the loading times between the actual internal SSD and the SD card have been said to only be like 10%, like 10% slower loading times from the SD card. It's really not that bad. So I'm going to play a lot of my games off of the SD card, especially ones like the ones that I'll keep permanently on my Steam Deck, like Dead Cells, for example. That style of game I probably always keep on an SD card because it doesn't need that quicker loading times. But some of the other games where, I don't know, Cyberpunk, where 10% could make a slightly larger difference because it is a longer loading time even on the SSD, I'll probably keep that on the actual internal storage. Also, swapping between things is pretty simple. Like, you literally can pop in your SD card and all the games suddenly show up on the Valve system. You remove it, they disappear. So it is actually quite simple. Also, transferring games, although it takes a while because it is only a micro SD card, you can just transfer games between the drives. So that's great news. You can keep them on the micro SD, and then once you finish playing the game that's on the SSD, swap those over or delete it if you're finished with that game and you don't want to play it again anytime soon, and you could just swap those around. But if a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte option, probably more 2 terabyte, would actually push me to get another SSD, I will be down to open my Steam Deck and swap it out, especially with iFixit. They have all the toolkits. You can go and buy probably well, I think all the toolkits are actually, I think Linus Tech Tips said that all the screw heads from the Steam Deck are one of the most simple ones. I think there's only 1 or 2 types of screw heads you need to open the Steam Deck. So there'll be tons of videos showing you how to do this, to just swap out your SSD. And this is something that I am definitely going to do if they bring out an SSD that's worth swapping to. So that's great news. The only bad thing that I've seen about the longevity of the system, from what I've seen, is when Linus Tech Tips on a live stream tried to get the battery out for the Steam Deck, and it was pretty much a disaster. Like, it was so difficult to get out because that thing is glued in there so well. So I wouldn't recommend to anybody, even if iFixit do sell a battery, I seriously would not recommend attempting to go in there yourself and remove that. I just don't think it's going to end well for you. That thing is so tough to get out unless you have very, very decent experience with all the perfect tools and you do this for a living. Then I would say, okay, perhaps go ahead and give it a go. But anything other than that, I would seriously be careful, because this thing is pretty tough to replace. I hope things like Wi-Fi chips are maybe available to replace. Stuff like that can die, and also upgraded ones would be nice. I've heard the Wi-Fi in the Steam Deck is not the best in the world, so something like that would be an antenna upgrade would be quite nice. There's various things that we could have. I'm very curious to see what they supply. So, but this is just great news for all of us, that there are optional parts out there, and you may even be able to take this thing to, I don't know, like a local phone repair shop and say, right, this is where you can get parts from. The guys there will probably know that, and you might be able to take it to them and they can actually replace it for you. So who knows? Just the fact that a big mainstream company like iFixit is planning to release their part versions for the system is huge, because it gives it notice that this is a device that's serious. There is ways you can change stuff, and hopefully that's going to be going really good. But anyway, that is it for this video. I do hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please do leave a like. Please do comment and subscribe. Plenty more Steam Deck coming out, content, things coming out in the future. I know we're all just excited to get our hands on this at this point, but we're just not going to be able to for now. If you guys have queues and you've pre-ordered it, please let me know what your placements are. I'm always interested to see in the comments down below where you're at in the queue. It's interesting. I like to know where people are and how people are feeling about this whole thing. So let me know what's going on in the comments down below. But other than that, thank you for this video, guys. You're all awesome, and I'm loving this. So thank you. Bye-bye.